Katie, I think what you're saying right now, I'm not a doctor, not a medical professional by any means, but allow me to put my white coat on. Ma'am, I think what you're describing is no dog syndrome. But we've checked the x-rays. There is no dog present in this man's chest cavity.
There was a distinct lack of dog.
Distinct.
Lando Norris suffering from acute lack of dog syndrome.
Yes. Not even a puppy in there. What a shame.
And speaking of getting the party started.
For the victory lap, though. They ain't never seen nothing like this before. Lit the room when I came through the front door. Ask me if I should overcome, what for? Train in the trees, please pardon my sycamore. Touch burning sands, cross lands, and stormy shore seasons in the year, yeah. Switch gears, with dipping headers in the rear. At the blood, sweat, and tears, and my goal so near. I see my victory so clear. I see my victory so clear. And today, we break through. 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 And today, we break through.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the newest edition of the Gridiron Podcast. And for those new here, we are the only podcast in the world that combines our two loves, that being Formula One and football. We're equal parts grid and equal parts iron. And if you're listening overseas, and I say overseas, we're in the U.S. and Canada. We're in North America, so, football being North American football. Football American, as they would say in French, en français. I'm getting ahead of myself here now. As always, I'm Sean Barie, and joining me on this magical mystery ride through Formula One and football, it is our resident NFL.com talent writer, Nick Shook, holding down the fort in the land. I would call him the bald behemoth.
Oh, no.
Oh, his camera's following him. But he's got a hat on tonight.
You pesky camera.
And back for the first time in a long time, it's our Canadian queen, Katie Caldwell.
I'm so happy to see you guys. It's been a while.
It has been.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've missed you guys. I've missed our listeners. Just the whole lot.
Katie, I want you to know we have one specific listener who jumps into my Twitch chat when I'm playing College Football 25. And this person is so excited to have you back on the show. Like, unbridled levels of enthusiasm.
We have one of them. Great.
This was one is more than none, and highly anticipated from one person in Denmark. Shout out to you, Papa Popper.
Wow, we really are
nice.
Truly like transcontinental, transatlantic here at the Gridiron Podcast.
We're Mr. Worldwide, baby.
Us in the White Star Line. R.I.P. Titanic.
Wow, we are just so far off the grid on the Gridiron Podcast at this point.
We usually are.
R.I.P. to the Titanic, man. 113 years later, still too soon. Still too soon.
I'll never let go. Sean, get us back on track.
I don't even know how to at this point. We've got a lot to get to tonight. It's been a while since we recorded, but we are on the heels, coming off the heels rather, of the Canadian Grand Prix, Katie's home race. So we're going to talk about that. Lots to talk about from that race. We have a new race winner in the 2025 F1 World Championship season. We got a little bit of drama between the best team on the grid, that being McLaren, and then we also have to get to my reaction and the Gridiron Podcast's reaction to the biggest free agent breaking news of the NFL offseason, even though it's not breaking news anymore. It happened 2 weeks ago. That being Aaron Rodgers joining my Pittsburgh Steelers. So we'll get to it all. Let's start in the world of Formula One. Let's head north of the border, or if you're Katie, within the border of Canada, to Montreal. Katie, who do you got for us on the Canadian Grand Prix? Just first of all, what is it like to go to Montreal? Never been.
It is one of my favorite cities in the whole world. Like, I don't rule out living there within the next couple of years.
Can you speak French Canadian?
Je parle un petit peu de français. That's probably about all I can get.
I have no idea what you just said.
She said a little bit. She can speak a little bit.
I can speak a little bit of French. I have been doing Spanish for a few years, so I feel like my brain gets them mixed up because I did French for so many years. So I speak only English moderately well, nothing else well at all.
Hola,
Moderately well.
monsieur. ¿Cómo estás? Je m'appelle Katie.
Man, 10 out of 10. But the city is just so wonderful, and it has so much history and so much culture, and the people are lovely, and it's just like a really fun party town. And you can see the track from so many places in the city. Montreal is just wonderful. I can't recommend it enough.
I texted you when the race was going on. Like, yes, like the Formula One World Championship is a global event where they go to so many different cool places. And I mean, you look at the scenery from Monaco, and then you have Singapore. But honestly, like, Canada is kind of up there. I told you, like, aesthetically, it is up there. It's on an island in the middle. It's the St. Lawrence River, right? Mm-hmm. It's just, I mean, they just put an F1 track in the middle of a river. It's kind of freaking cool.
It feels really on brand for Canada because it's just so pretty here, like in so many different provinces and territories. But yeah, Montreal is one of my favorite tracks, but then also one of the most aesthetically pleasing, I think. Especially those overhead shots where you can see the trees and the water and how close they are to the water. It's kind of wild.
I know, yes. Canada does have good trees and water. And we also had a...
Wow.
And after we have our...
Sean.
Just, that's all you need to know about Canada. It's
Canada,
got trees
all of good
and
trees
water.
and water.
But not home to the Stanley Cup since 1993.
Oh, got
Shots
him.
fired.
That's fine with me. I hate the Oilers, but I hate the Panthers like a little bit
Right?
more, which
Like,
is
yeah.
crazy. So I was like very reluctantly going for the Oilers, but then I'm like, no, it's okay. It needs to be the Canucks.
Down
they're
here.
only 8 to 10 years away from a potential Stanley Cup run.
We're rebuilding off the rebuild, off the rebuild.
Off the rebuild,
state-
off the rebuild.
The state of Florida, down here in Florida, 4 Stanley Cups in the past 6 years. And I'm not a fan of either of the Lightning. I cover the Lightning, but I'm not a fan of either the Lightning or the Panthers. But it's just wild to me that there hasn't been a Canadian championship since 1993. I'm not dogging you at this point. It's just like, Florida? Really?
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
embarrassing for hockey, if I'm honest.
I'm
the
sure
whole
Gary
sport.
Bettman loves it.
Hey, Sean, how old were we the last time a Canadian team won the Stanley Cup?
We were, I don't know how they count años in Canada, but we were 1 year old.
One. I lost my hair 11 years ago. That's how long it's been.
Thank you for sharing that, Nick. Anyway, let's get back to the Canadian Grand Prix. Let's really back in here. We had a new race winner for the 2025 season, that being George Russell from Mercedes. The podium went George Russell, followed by Max Verstappen, followed by Kimi Antonelli. His first podium in Formula One, and then the 18-year-old had to jump on a jet, fly back to Italy, and finish his high school exams. First question is, if you're a Formula One driver, why the ever-loving F do you care about your high school exams at this point?
Because your mom wants you to finish school. That's why.
Guys, like, look, Mom, I got the job that I wanted. I'm an F1. I think I'm good. I think we can just... I'm cool with being a high school dropout at that point.
I don't know, man. Those GEDs, they just don't hit the same.
You get that far, and then you only have like 3 exams left. You gotta just go do it. But the difference is, I would fly and I would do it, but I wouldn't have studied, and I would have partied for 36 straight hours in Montreal
100%.
because the drinking age there is 18.
100%.
In Quebec.
There's not enough promise to mothers that could propel me to take another exam ever again if I was now standing on top of a podium.
Spoken like a bad son.
I would have taken the exam, but it would have been
Wow.
very vibes-based and not study-based. But I'd still
So
take
you're
it.
filling in C for every answer.
C, well, that means
Whatever
something
in
different
doubt.
in Italian. You're just filling in yes for every answer.
Ah,
C's get degrees.
they do.
C's,
My
yes.
Kent State
C.
degree can support
C.
that.
All right. Followed by Oscar Piastri in 4th, and then who came home in 5th? I'm having a hard time remembering that. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Wasn't Lando.
It wasn't Lando. You know why it wasn't
That
Lando?
is what
First of all,
matters.
we'll get to that in a second because the McLarens had a little bit of trouble. Last time that Nick and I recorded this podcast, we talked about the inevitability of the McLarens fighting one another. It finally happened. Finally happened. 10 races into the season, and it was just the most uneventful, yet eventful, yet undramatic/dramatic fight between teammates ever. It's a big nothing burger that we kind of want to make a big deal out of, but it's kind of like,
Wait a minute.
We'll
State
get to that in a
media
second.
speaking for McLaren, one of the drivers crashing out. Come on. Let's be honest.
We'll get to that in a second. Let's talk about, though, the winner, George Russell. Another troubling trend pops up because so many races this year have been won from pole, and we just got into, it wasn't even a DRS train at Canada. It was like every car was just following like 1.5 to 2 seconds behind one another. Dirty air is the phrase that you like to throw around this season. These cars, they were designed with the purpose of being able to follow closely to cars in front of them and then being able to race them. It's not happening right now. Like, these cars can't follow one another, so drivers are just kind of hanging back and just kind of staying where they are and waiting for an opportunity that just aren't coming because these cars aren't failing anymore. It was kind of a boring race, if I'm being honest. Like, there was a little bit of intrigue because of the tire strategy, but at the end of the day, we kind of finished in the same order we started at.
Yeah, I mean, we did, and that was the bummer, is that George ends up on pole and he wins from pole, and Max is just driving behind him casually the whole race. But, like, there was some action, and we were setting up for a really intriguing final 10 laps before the McLaren on McLaren crime shortened that, and that was, again, because of strategy. It's not the first time
McLaren on
we've
McLaren
seen
crime, Nick?
Well, we'll get to that in a second, but since you wanted to lead with the leader and the winner of the race, George Russell, a guy that nobody, including Netflix, likes. We've seen that before. We kind of saw it in Barcelona.
Netflix.
Yeah, especially Netflix. Bad edit for you, George.
Bad edit.
I felt like we saw that in Barcelona. We've seen that throughout much of this season, where we get to the final 10 laps and we're like, ooh, tire strategy is going to make this interesting. And then ultimately, it's really not that interesting. So the most interesting thing we got from the race, Sean, was the McLaren on McLaren crime, papaya on papaya, the inevitable clash between two drivers, and, in my opinion, a demonstration of what Katie and I have been saying for months, which is that one of these two drivers is a better driver than the other. The guy who didn't crash is the better driver we've chosen all along, Oscar Piastri, not the guy who went for a gap that was never there, Lando Norris. So, Sean, tell us, from your view, what happened there on the start-finish straight?
Ooh, with about 6 laps to go, you had the McLarens finally starting to battle one another. Lando passes Oscar at the hairpin turn, and then Oscar passes him back, and they're just going side to side, down the main straight. Lando's right behind Oscar, rear wing open, and yeah, he just crashes into the back of Oscar. He just goes to the left when there was absolutely nothing between Oscar and the wall other than a patch of grass. I don't know what Lando was looking at. And I texted you guys because I literally walked downstairs for like 2 minutes because I was folding laundry, and I took some towels downstairs and walked back upstairs. You guys were blowing up my phone. I look at the TV. I see a safety car. I see Lando getting out of his car, and I'm like, what the hell just happened? Yeah, Lando literally just crashed into the back. I don't even want to say crashed. He tapped the back of Oscar's wheel, thus breaking off his front wing and ending Lando's day. I mean, it was the dumbest teammate on teammate crime ever, but also
The French Civil War was pretty good with Alpine last year.
I said it earlier, it was so much of a nothing burger because it only affected one driver. It didn't take out both drivers like with Alpine. It was kind of just like, oh, Lando screwed his day up. Like, way to go, dude. And then he immediately took blame for it. He was like, yeah, I don't know what I was doing. That was stupid on my part. Like, yeah, you don't say. That was pretty stupid, dude. Like, on a scale of 1 to stupid, it was stupid.
So, Sean, when you, as a McLaren fan, are watching those two cars race each other, who do you trust more when you're watching them? Because I know, like, Nick and I have been high on Piastri for a long time. I feel like I trust Oscar more in that situation, and it came to fruition when we were watching it. As a McLaren fan...
It's not a question anymore. It's Oscar. And
it's Oscar?
For the past couple, past month or so, it's been very clearly Oscar. Like, he's leading the world championship for a reason.
Yeah.
It's without a doubt Oscar, and it makes sense that Lando was the one that screwed up. And I've seen some people start to say, well, Oscar was drifting to the left. I'm like, yeah, because it was the racing line.
Oscar's racecraft was
coming
perfect
up there, bud.
when they were racing each other.
It was perfect. He went deep, let Lando pass him, Then he went for the switcheroo, and it worked. Like, Oscar was just racing better. Now, Lando was on fresher tires, and I feel like he probably would have gotten the move done eventually, but I don't know what Lando saw in that moment that made him think going to the left was the right idea. But, yeah, it was just a bad move all over.
I think he was a little seduced by the idea of having DRS down that straight.
Yeah.
I think he was a little impatient. And the thing
it's
is,
an intoxicating
he had
drug,
time.
DRS.
It is. You know, that drag reduction system, let me tell you. Anytime
wing
you go
opens
through
and you're
life
just
with
like-
less drag, you got to take the opportunity. Why do you think I'm bald? Okay? I'm aerodynamically prepared to fight. No, I think that,
That's exactly why.
Of course. See his armpits, dog? No hair in here. Makes me aerodynamic when I fight.
So fast.
No, I think he lacked patience, and I think it was the pressure of the situation, knowing that the guy he was racing was in the same machinery as him, and that he would have to take his opportunities. But he got the pass down on the hairpin, the overtake. Sorry, Europeans. But it's like, do it again. Like, keep biding your time. You had 10 laps left to go. What are you doing? Why are you forcing
He was going to
this?
get the move done eventually, but just I honestly
Said he moved
think
himself right out of the race.
I honestly think Max Verstappen has ruined Lando Norris. I think his past battles with Max last year, he just he hears helicopter blades twirling, Fortunate Son starts playing in Lando's ears.
Some folks are born.
anytime
Made to wear the flag.
he knows that he has a crucial overtake to get done. It doesn't even matter if it's Max or if it could be anyone else, but this time it happened to be Oscar. He just gets PTSD and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm back in the jungles. I'm looking for Charlie." It's like, dude, just get it done.
I don't know if he was, if it is Max, because I don't know if this is controversial to say. I think Lando's just been this guy the whole time.
Too nice.
Like,
Too nice. And then when the moment arises, he's like, "Oh, I gotta prove it. Into the wall."
Like, he's a
Leroy
good driver.
Jenkins.
I don't have him as one of the top drivers, in my opinion. Like, I
Oh,
would
not
probably
anymore,
take
no.
George over Lando, if I'm honest. But I don't know if it is Max getting in his head, because maybe he just hasn't ever been that guy. He was a driver that was good and has a lot of potential. And then the car turned into a rocket ship, and then he won some races. But then how many times did we talk about him losing the lead on lap 1? Like, I don't know if he ever was that guy, and then Max knocked him down so many pegs. I think he was always just kind of this guy.
We're taking
Katie,
George, the guy that crashes under safety cars.
Yeah, because at least George could battle with Oscar. It's a little messy, but at least he could battle with him and not crash his car, which we saw here last year. Katie, I think what you're saying right now, I'm not a doctor, not a medical professional by any means, but allow me to put my
For
white
the
coat
record.
on. Ma'am, I think what you're describing is no dog syndrome. But we've checked the x-rays. There is no dog present in this man's chest cavity.
There was a distinct lack of dog.
distinct.
Lando Norris suffering from acute lack of dog syndrome.
Yes. Not even a puppy in there. What a shame. We can't all be so fortunate.
Yeah, that's
Anyway.
my theory anyways.
Yeah.
But-
No. Anyway, there's the. I mean, and it really did ruin Lando's race, obviously, because he DNF'd. But now he's, I think, 24 points behind Oscar. Like, he is now one race win away from his teammate, so the gap widens. That being said, is Mercedes back in the fight? A
Yeah.
double podium? Yeah, I think
Oh yeah,
so.
that car looks good. Drivers
does.
look good.
I think a lot of this too, the tire deg that we saw from every team, not just from McLaren, was just higher than normal for this race in Canada. Like, Pirelli had the pit open where they thought these teams would pit, and everyone was pitting early. Everyone was having tire troubles. So I think that kind of kept everyone together. So I think it was kind of one of those weird races, kind of like Japan this year, where you just kind of look at it and go, huh, that was weird. So we'll see what happens down the line. Everyone predicted McLaren would come back to the pack in Spain, and they finished 1-2. So is this, McLaren finishing fourth and off the podium for the first time this year? Is that indicative of something we're going to see? I don't know. I guess we'll see later on. Only time will tell. Probably not. I still think McLaren's the best car on the grid.
Yeah, they are. I would like to call attention to two things, though. Number one,
Point of order.
the title fight between P1 and P3 is 43 points. Max Verstappen sitting in third. Lurking. Doesn't have a
Lurking.
good enough car to win it, but lurking. And also,
I think
you said you didn't know. Go ahead.
I think he has a car and talent decent enough to make it interesting until the last few weeks of the season.
I do too, Sean.
I think he's going to continue to lurk. I think there's a couple more race wins in there.
Yeah, and could make it interesting, depending on what if McLaren just starts taking each other out the whole freaking season. That would be very fun. Also, let me just state this. I feel very vindicated because I was texting you guys as they were about to battle, and I'm like, God, I really hope they take each other out here. Like, I really hope there's some McLaren on McLaren crime. And then, like, 2 laps later, it happened, and I was like, yes!
We manifested that because Sean was downstairs folding his socks, and Nick and I are both texting, like, crash into each other, and then they did, and we were like, yeah!
We're over here, like, just agents of chaos, and Sean's like, da-da-da, folding the socks, da-da-da.
In real time, we manifested that.
Yeah, so what's the lesson we learned there?
You are thieves of joy.
What's the lesson we just learned here, Sean?
I don't know if there is a lesson other than Oscar
Never do laundry.
Yeah, there it is. In times of doubt, always opt for chaos and never socks. Laundry.
I'm sorry that your national race was such a snooze fest, Katie, that it compelled me to literally
it was a good
fold
race.
my laundry.
That's on you.
Wow.
You have plenty of time to do laundry. That's your choice. That's free will in action right there.
After the race, when they were in the media pen, Lando made sure to go up to Oscar and, you know, dapped him up and apologized. And Oscar was like, "Don't even worry about it, dude." 'Cause of course he would be. He's like, I finished the race. I was fine. You're the one that, like, crashed.
Yeah, you're the one who has to pay for it.
Also, Oscar was like, "It's fine, dude."
Sean, you said you didn't know who finished P5, P6. Katie, resident Ferrari fan, that was Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton P5, P6. And Lewis Hamilton still hates his team.
Look at Ferrari, not, screwing things up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, relatively speaking.
Yeah, Lewis has been really funny with Ferrari already. Did you guys see the interview where she was like, yeah, and like tell us about how it's been going since the upgrades on the car, and then he looked at her and he goes, there have been no upgrades. There have been 0 upgrades. And no gray area was.
We could use an upgrade. I'd like to
probably use 1 or 2.
No upgrades. There were no upgrades.
One more note on McLaren. Did you guys see the Nico Rosberg curse of it all again?
Yes.
Amazing. So for those that don't know, every time Nico Rosberg like takes a selfie in front of somebody's garage or something, like they will crash out of the race 10 times out of 10. So he took a selfie, like somebody needs to take bro's phone away. He took a selfie beside the track right in front of where Lando and Oscar crashed, and then Lando was like skidding up against the wall. You know there's a Rosberg selfie right in front of it. Just chef's kiss.
Oh, and shout out to Nico for dealing with Danica Patrick on the broadcast.
Shout out for anyone having to deal with Danica Patrick on any broadcast.
It is becoming my favorite part of any race weekend, be it IndyCar or Formula One, where you just have people just side-eyeing Danica Patrick. Like, what are you saying?
It's like, this isn't a really difficult track. They're like, yeah, it is.
It is.
There's literally a wall called the Wall of Champions. It's called the Wall of Champions because champions tend to crash into the wall. What do you mean it's not a difficult track? It has a wall where people crash into it all the time.
I think Jensen Button is my favorite one when he's with Danica, because he can't hide his facial expressions at all, and he'll straight up just be like rolling his eyes when he speaks to her. I'm like, I get it. I'm doing it when I listen to her. A driver's most important tools are their 2 hands. Like, everybody that knows me knows I'm a big Danica Patrick hater for a multitude of reasons. Go back to our episode going over the Lizard People podcast if you haven't listened to that.
Yes, there we go. There we go.
Yeah, we couldn't tell you what episode that was, but it's in there somewhere. Just dig deep enough.
Other news out of the F1 world is James Vowles staying with Williams, signing a multi-year contract to stay with the Williams Formula One team. He's been leading them on the up and up, and now he's staying.
He's a former lieutenant of Braun GP. He comes from Mercedes. He knows what it takes to win, even if he's never been at the front of the boat when it happens. And Williams has made strides since Dirilaton Capital got involved. They got more money in that thing now. They got a screen on their wheel finally, which is big for them. I know it seems small, but it's big for them. So this is the right guy to keep around. They're headed in the right direction. Makes a lot of sense.
The fact that this team is securely like the 5th fastest car from when we started watching this sport like 5 or 6 years ago, to seeing where they are now, it's like that car used to like get lapped within the first few laps of the race, and now they are actually like contending every single race with Ferraris and with Mercedes. It's insane.
If Logan didn't put it into the wall first, then yes, they were getting lapped.
USA,
True.
USA.
And if Nicholas Latifi just didn't crash, Lewis Hamilton would have an 8th world title.
It's too soon, Sean. It's too soon.
Yep, it's only been 4 years. Too soon. Yes.
Has it really been 4 years? It really has. Wow.
Yeah,
time
we're
does
getting old.
fly. All right, that does it with the grid part of this podcast. Let's move on to the iron. Let's talk some NFL. Oh, I'm sorry. Katie,
Do you want
I'm
to do
so
my
sorry.
vibes notes?
Yeah,
Yes.
vibes
For the
notes.
first time in a long time, Katie has her vibes notes, which if you don't know, Katie writes down notes during the F1 race as it's happening live. And these aren't to dealing with anything. It's just the vibes that Katie gets from the race. Katie, please.
They're very technical, very professional, always very level-headed and non-biased.
Sure,
Those would probably be my
sure.
reads on the vibes.
You go ahead. Who are you trying to convince? Us or you? Without any further ado, Katie's vibe notes on the Canadian Grand Prix.
Okay, these were my big takeaways from the Canadian Grand Prix. There's no way Max doesn't fire his car into George in turn 1, right? Very shocking that didn't happen. Thank you, America, for reigniting my patriotism. Ew, get Christian Horner off my TV right now. Next, I think I'm Team Max. George gives me cop vibes.
Yes.
Next, fuck it, let's get a Kimi Antonelli win.
Ooh,
Close.
spicy.
Happy Father's Day, Fernando Alonso. I don't know if he has kids, but he has father energy. Googled it, no kids, but the sentiment remains. Love when Alex gets spicy on the radio. Days later, and I'm still laughing at Williams deleting the whipped cream video. Did you guys see that?
No.
Okay, check on Twitter after we're done. And for any listeners that haven't watched this, so Williams posted a video on their socials that very predictably had to be taken down, where they're putting whipped cream into Carlos's mouth, and the visuals were something, and naturally people were not normal about it, but the internet is forever, so it is very much still out there. But yeah, they're taking a lot of very funny heat for that one. We are racing, not testing. Fernando, you spicy son of a bitch. Next point, please McLarens crash into each other, please, please, please. Point after that, Nick and I manifested this in huge capital letters. Next point, McLaren are the Florida Panthers of Formula One, brackets derogatory. They do have kind of similar energy. Next point. Oh, so they do know how to end a race behind the safety car.
Hey,
And then stairs in Abu Dhabi 2021.
hey. We wanted a thrilling finish. We wanted a motor race.
Just saying, Nick.
God, that would have been so disappointing.
No,
And the
Michael.
title comes down
So
to
not
a
right.
safety car.
And then Kimmy's first podium. Hell yes, this is a great day and great race by Officer George Russell.
Oh,
So-
Can't even make him a detective.
Woody the cop. He's on the street beat.
So clearly they were very vibes-based because the race wasn't that exciting. But there were some exciting moments. I just love that track and I love that race. So those were my big takeaways from the race.
I saw a couple clips on Twitter, the website formerly known as Twitter, of the whipped cream escapades with
I can
Carlos
imagine. I don't even
Sainz.
need to look it up. I can just imagine.
Yeah, you could absolutely just imagine.
There were screenshots taken from the video. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But 10 out of 10 work for the Williams social team. I'm just devastated they removed it because everybody already knows it exists. The internet
I
is
think-
forever, but
And I think Carlos knew exactly what he was doing too.
he's like locking eyes with the camera.
Yeah, he knew exactly
Look,
what he was
look.
doing.
The
It
vibes
just
are high at Williams.
it reinforces a lesson I learned a long time ago. When in doubt, Cool Whip over whipped cream.
That begs the question: are Williams fans the
I have so many
horniest?
Are they what?
Are Williams fans the horny? Probably. I would assume if Carlos Sainz is your driver, Williams fans have to be the horniest.
Man, that's a good thought exercise.
Yeah.
I still think it has to be Ferrari. I think
I was
Ferrari
gonna
has the
say,
hottest team.
you know what? Yeah, you know what? I mean,
And they're Italian.
No offense to Alex, but but counterpoint. I have heard a lot of people say James Vowles is good looking for an older dude.
Daddy James. He's not even that old.
He might be close to our age. for
Yeah,
all we
he's
know.
like not that much older than me.
Shut up, guys. He's old.
Okay.
I just want to feel young. I'm not saying you're old. I'm saying he's old. He's older than us. I want
Well,
to feel
now I
young.
have to go to the Google machine.
I'm gonna guess he's like 38.
46.
That's way off.
Well, You were all shocked that Jane Fonda was 80-something, so.
Yeah, that's true. Forgot about.
Hey,
when
I
we
still
talked
get
about-
28, so hey.
And then he
Must
takes
be
the
nice.
hat off and he gets 40.
No, I mean, I was bald when I was 23. What's the difference?
You had a little bit of hair when you were 23. You'd like the little curly hue up there.
Nope. It was gone at 23. You're thinking about 22 there.
Oh, sorry. I was off by 1 year.
There's
All
a
right.
distinct hair loss point, Sean.
Yes. When
Yes.
he moved out of college, he's like, goodbye hair, goodbye college. All right, that does it for the good part of our podcast. Let's move on to the iron, to the NFL. Mini camp still ongoing for some teams. Some teams finished up mini camp. Nothing really to report. We have Jair Alexander, who got cut from the Packers and signed a 1-year deal with the Ravens. Scary. What else, Nick? Anything else?
Well, first off, congrats to the Ravens for finding another corner to line up opposite Marlon Humphrey, who isn't bound to get hurt. Oh, wait. Jair Alexander's played exactly half of the possible games over the last 4 years. Oh, maybe you just signed a guy who's also going to get hurt, just like every other corner you've added to your secondary. Overall, on paper, great signing. Hopefully, you can make it through a full season. Any other news? No, I mean, not before we get to what we wanted to get to. It's a slow time right now. And frankly, I was off work this week, so I was a little bit unplugged.
Love
but,
that for you.
Why don't we
That's
just
great.
speed right to the walking Cialis commercial himself, Aaron
Let's
Rodgers.
get to the juice. Walking Cialis commercial.
The slow-mo passes of him in OTA's minicamp. Ask your doctor if Cialis is right for you.
Side effects may include
Side
Through the
effects, man.
bathtub on the mountainside, just show Aaron Rodgers throwing passes in T-shirts and helmets.
Side effects may include telling people you're inoculated, believing in lizard people, telling people you're married even though there's no evidence of that,
Well,
and a 9-8 season.
9-8, pretty high there, huh?
It's the Steelers. They're gonna do
Let's
something
dive
like
in,
that,
baby.
dude. They're gonna do something like that. All right. What do you want to know? How do I attack this?
Aaron Rodgers signed a 1-year deal for the Steelers that is less than $20 million per year, which some say is a great bargain, but really indicates his market value at 41 years old. It ended the longest, most drawn-out wait of a signing that we all knew was going to happen since Jadeveon Clowney to the Browns? I don't know. It's been a long wait. It's pissed me off because I've had to monitor it step by step. I've had to write about Steelers who were like, man, maybe we will get it, maybe we won't. Mike Tomlin used the phrase, there's no drop-dead date on signing Aaron Rodgers. And then a tell-all story comes out about how they snuck him into the facility and built an offense around him before he signed. That's all fine and dandy. Now comes the time in the next couple of months for him to actually prove whether all that effort was worth it. And the fun part about this is that we get to spend the entire football season in this try box here across the continent measuring Sean's emotional well-being as it relates to Aaron Rodgers.
Sean,
That's
before you indefinitely have the floor, because I feel you can have 15 minutes straight on this. Can I
don't
just
want
make
to.
one point
Please.
about the very hilarious timing of when this was announced?
Oh, God.
Because Aaron Rodgers is someone that we've had to talk about him every single offseason. We've had to talk about him throughout the offseason. There's the darkness retreat, and then is he going to retire? Is he going to go here? And he commands so much of our energy as people that speak about the NFL. And the moment that it was announced that he was actually going to the Steelers was right in the middle of the Trump and Elon fight of the century, where Elon is openly being like, yeah, he's in the Epstein files. Right then, it's announced, and every single person who's on the internet doesn't give a single shit about anything else happening. And I just think for someone that, like, commands all of this attention, and especially because he's, like, in that world, too, so he's, like, betrayed by his bros from this, I thought the timing was so funny because it couldn't have been more lost in the shuffle because of this, like, hugely international story that everyone that has the internet was talking about. It just felt like such, like, poetic justice that that's exactly when it happened.
Yeah. He basically snuck into Pittsburgh in the dead of night via a tweet, and it... Look, I knew it was coming, right? Nick, you said it was a long time coming. I assumed it was going to happen or he was going to retire. I've been very vocal. I don't want him within 1,000 miles of my football team, okay? I don't care if he is easily the best option at quarterback that they currently have on the roster. I don't want him on that roster. I don't like Aaron Rodgers. I don't like the way he has just commanded the storylines at every stop along the way. He is just a distraction. He is a diva. And for a myriad of other reasons, I don't want him. Frankly, I feel like he is beneath the standards. The standard is the standard of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know that doesn't mean anything because they're trying to win football games and they think that he can win football games still. Sure, he was top 10 in passing yards last year. And towards the end of the season, he was starting to put together some pretty good stuff on tape. But at the same time, I don't care. Like, there's just people I don't want playing for my football team. Aaron Rodgers is one of them. That being said, since he is signed, I have absolutely started to talk myself into the possibility that maybe this will work out. You know, like, hey, came into camp. He's a married man now. Things have changed. Maybe he got humbled in the offseason because, you know, maybe the Vikings want him. Nope, they don't want him. Or maybe the Giants want him. Nope, they don't want him. Okay, I guess I'll go to Pittsburgh. You know, no one wanted him but Pittsburgh. Maybe that humbled him a little bit. He comes to mini camp and he says, I'm going to be with Will Howard every minute of every day. We're going to be in every meeting together. I'm going to be helping him every step of the way. And he's buttering us up. He's talking about Pittsburgh being a blue-collar town. He's talking about Mike Tomlin and the draw he has to Mike Tomlin and wanting to play for the blue-collar town that is Pittsburgh, wanting to play for Mike Tomlin. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, okay, we might be able to do this. And then I remember, every time I try and convince myself this might work out, I remember, oh yeah, wait a minute, it's Aaron fucking Rodgers. And then I'm just back to square one all over.
You know, I'm so glad that you could blend your unbridled optimism with so much rationale. Like, as soon as he starts climbing to the top of the hill, he turns around, looks back, and goes, shit. I got to climb back down this thing at some point. Oh, God, look at these cliffs. They're just they're just terrifying.
It's inevitable.
Oh,
I just know if my grandfather, God rest his soul, was still with us, he would not like this at all. Like, he would just be like, this is not my football team.
He just brings so much chaos and noise, and, like, all of it is self-inflicted. But if I'm, like, signing up for that circus of a person, especially with, like, the lead position of the quarterback, like, I want a decent shot at the Super Bowl, and this does not move that needle for me. At all.
And, no, of course it doesn't. It's a placeholder. And I really hope that, you know, Aaron Rodgers doesn't think that by leaving New York, he is going to be able to, like, escape scrutiny and escape the eye of the press, because there is nothing else to talk about in Pittsburgh between the months of, you know, August to June, other than the Penguins, who aren't good either. So, but Pittsburgh is a football town, and their focus is squarely on the Steelers and the quarterback of the Steelers, whether it be Ben Roethlisberger, Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, or now Aaron Rodgers. So I hope he doesn't think he's going to, like, be able to fly under the radar in a small market, because that ain't happening.
You know, Sean, the way you just described the city of Pittsburgh, it prompted a thought in my head, and that thought is simple. I see a Steelers hat over your shoulder. What better time than now than for the man, the myth himself? What's his name, Sean?
Yinzer Bob, I think we call him, right?
Yinzer Bob. Bring him back. Let's go. Let's have Yinzer Bob's take on Aaron Rodgers being a Steeler.
Hold on a second.
We're going to vamp in the meantime. Katie, how was your week?
Pass. Next question.
No, that was going to be my answer. What the hell?
Nick, how was your week?
Oh, we're two on the same page. No comments. Next question. Drew Rosenhaus in the driveway. Next question. Start doing crunches, Katie. Next question. Here we go.
How you guys doing here? You like my Franco's Italian Army shirt there? R.I.P.
What'd you do?
Franco
Get that from 412 or whatever that name of that shop is? They still in business?
Oh, you know what? My aunt down in North Carolina sent me this for my birthday. Rest in peace, Franco Harris. You're a legend.
It wasn't a catch.
He caught it.
So Yinzer Bob,
it wasn't a catch.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the recent acquisition of quarterback Aaron Rodgers to the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Well, I tell you what, I mean, a 4-time MVP coming down to Pittsburgh. He says it's a blue-collar town. It's definitely a blue-collar town. Let's see how blue-collar this Aaron Rodgers can get. I mean, if he's down there on the strip eating Permane Bros, I want to know what his Permane Brothers order is. But before he gets his sandwich up at the wall, I mean, he's got to throw a couple touchdowns first.
So who's he going to throw to, Sean? There's been a lot of optimism in the Steelers front office.
Bob.
They feel. Oh, sorry, Bob. Sorry to misnomer you. There's been a lot of optimism in Pittsburgh that they believe they're in a much better place offensively this year than they were a year ago. So beyond DK Metcalf, who is he throwing those touchdowns to?
Right, Yin's guys know I'm a big DK Metcalf guy. Sorry, Katie, I know Yin's love your Falcons, or not your Falcons, your Seahawkies, or whatever Yin's like to call them up there in the Northwest, or I guess for Yin's in Canada, it's the Southwest. I don't know, whatever. Either way, I've been hearing a lot about this guy, Calvin Austin III, and you know what, a speedy guy, and a lot of people seem to like him, but you guys got to remember, we got Roman Wilson, too, in the second round last year, and, I mean, Roman Wilson, he didn't see the field at all, he got one catch, but I've been told he's really good, and I had someone, I got my friend, Bob, another Bob down at Giant Eagle, Sal Roman Wilson, and he swears it started to rain, because it's been raining up there for like 3 straight months nonstop, but he ran out to his car, and he clocked him, and he said he ran a 4.1. Say, these guys got to watch out for Roman Wilson.
4.1 in a parking lot. Was he in sandals?
You know what? He didn't say, but I'd be willing to bet he was even barefoot.
Yinzer Bob, if you have one piece of advice for our listeners today, what would it be? It could be football fandom. It could be life advice. What would you tell our listeners?
Yin's guys know that growing up in Pittsburgh, all right, we love our Steelers, we love our Pens, and we love our Buccos. But the one piece of advice I give you is never, and I mean never, ever, ever, move someone's parking chair. I mean, that's just downright un-American. If someone digs out a spot from the snow and they put their parking chair there, how you guys going to go move it? I mean, that's just, I mean, there's a special circle in hell for you.
Yinzer Bob, I would never want to do anything un-American.
Nah.
So thank you for that helpful advice.
Says the Canadian. Yinzer Bob, final question. How do you feel about the idea of Aaron Rodgers taking the coveted, legendary jersey number once worn by touchdown Tommy Maddox?
XFL MVP Tommy Maddox?
Yep, that one.
I mean, Tommy is still, I still got a box of Tommy-O's up in the closet over there. I mean, that's a collector's item. It's going to be worth a lot of money someday. But I do have to say, you know, Tommy is an absolute legend in Pittsburgh because, I mean, if he didn't get injured against the Ravens week 2, I mean, we would have never had Big Ben Roethlisberger. And if we would have never had Big Ben Roethlisberger, we would have never had Kenny Pickett, the other number 8. So maybe this is cleansing the number 8 here in the city of Pittsburgh.
Seems like a bit of a cursed number. I mean, other than that wild card win over the Browns, I don't know.
Yinzer Bob, I think this is only maybe the second time we've met. I feel like I've known you my whole life. What a pleasure having you back on the pod today.
Oh, yeah,
truly.
Thanks, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks so much.
All right, we say goodbye to Yinzer Bob.
We'll hand his mic back to Sean Barie.
Esteemed sports reporter / anchor in the Tampa area.
John, welcome
John's back. And his hair just as coiffed as ever. Look at that. Got a little bit sticking up in the back, but nobody's going to tell Alfalfa what's going on.
You know, it was actually difficult to summon the Yinzer accent back. It's been a minute, and I detected a little mid-Atlantic there for a second.
Yeah, a little bit, a little bit. You nailed it. I gave you an 85, 87%. Yeah,
I need to spend more time because my girlfriend now lives in Pittsburgh, and I frequent up there so much. I hear the accent when I'm there, and immediately I'm just like, oh my gosh. You're like, oh yeah.
It's like you run into Cleveland A. Ooh,
it's not the prettiest of accents, and we know it, but we embrace it. We don't care.
Do you call her Yinzer Aaron now?
No, I don't.
Not
she
yet.
asked me, Nick, do you know what there's a state park in Pennsylvania that a lot of people go to. It's called Ohio Pile.
Oh, Ohio Pile. I was there.
Yeah.
Ohio Pile. I was there 2 summers ago.
She's like, tonight, she's like, hey, what is Ohio Pile? And I just started laughing. I said, say it right. She goes, I know how you say it. I'm not saying it. It's Ohio Pile.
There it is.
It's just one word.
Pile.
No O's. Ohio Pile.
Ohio Pile.
I'm like, it's a state park. I was like, you can go rafting there, floating, canoeing.
Yeah, I went
biking.
whitewater rafting there.
Yeah, it was
was
like,
fun.
a lot of people go there. But she's like, is it near Ohio? I'm like, no, it's near Maryland.
Yeah, it's a solid
close
hour.
to the
Total
West
sense.
Virginia, Maryland border. It's nowhere near Ohio.
Yeah. Closer to Huntington than you are Ohio. I think that does it, guys. I think we've done it.
That does do it. 42 minutes, and we're out of here. Guys, thanks so much for listening to the Joe Thomas episode of the Gridiron Podcast, episode 73. Who rules?
Papaya. Just kidding. O'Doyle.
Joe Thomas rules.
Oh.
Oh. Okay, we'll go
What we
with
were
that.
saying at the beginning of the podcast.
No, I mean papaya.
Anywho, For the clearly forgetful Katie Caldwell and Nick Shook, I'm Sean Barie, and as always, thank you so much for listening to the Gridiron Podcast. We appreciate your viewership, your listenership. Like, subscribe, listen, share us with your friends. If you want to get in contact with us, you can do so via email at thegridironpodcast 3. That's thegridironpodcast 3. Damn those other two. At gmail.com. And then we are also on social media on Instagram, and that is just at GridironPod. Find us on Instagram at GridironPod. Until next time, for Katie Caldwell and Nick Shook, I'm Sean Barie. Live life in the fast lane, folks.
YouTube.com/@GridironPod. Good night, Canada.
Good night, Canada.
And Ray Gun.